everyone. This is the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Scott.
And welcome back. Welcome back to another episode. We're going to be talking about The Craft.
Yes, we are. I know it doesn't feel this way to you people listening, but it's been a minute for us. We have taken a couple weeks off.
Yeah, from recording.
Yes.
Like we haven't been in here for a minute.
Yeah, so by the magic of us recording early, you will not feel like we've been gone, but to us, it's been a minute.
But for us, we're like, wait, what do we do?
Yeah, how do I do this again?
Who are we talking to? Each other? No, we're talking to everybody. This movie. It's been a minute for this movie since I've watched it. That's
I know.
what I thought you were talking about. I'm like, yeah, it has been a minute.
It's been a minute for that too, yeah. So I'm like, what happened again? Got my notes here with me. I'm like, oh, please guide me, notes.
I'm just like, witches? Do they burn? No.
That's it. Witches.
That's the end.
All right, next episode. Yes, it has been a minute, and I was going through my notes and stuff and kind of remembering some of the trivia facts that I had looked up. But, yeah, so we're kind of in the middle of fantasy month, so what's a fantasy movie specifically? You know, it could be Hobbits and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and stuff. So since, you know, I was going through movies that were listed as fantasy, but since it's kind of a wide interpretation, I was just like, you know, haven't seen this movie in a while. Screw it, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we did.
And that'll be the same thing with the next movie as well. Kind of, is it fantasy? But
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if you guys have suggestions, you can email us at thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com. And it doesn't have to be the same genre that we're doing. It could be off the wall. It could be just whatever. But you can email us, or you can even reach out to us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually post what episode we're going to be doing over the weekend. We release it that Monday. So either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we'll put out there what episode it's going to be. And you can always comment and be like, oh, you should do this next.
Yeah.
Or, oh, my goodness. Yay. Or, you know, just whatever. We like interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take advice, and we've already done that with My Neighbor Totoro. You know, we got that recommended, so we can do that too.
Yep.
So The Craft, yes, it is a witchcraft movie. It was released in 1996. I think the first time I watched this was on TV. I remember my parents, I kind of always bring this up, it feels like, but they are religious. I don't know, pretty religious, just religious, I guess. Yeah. But they were like, oh, The Craft, you shouldn't watch that because that's got devilry and witchcraft in it. Here's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
They for some reason let me read that.
That's so much better.
We were pretty big at going to church at that. Later in the year of 1990, later in the 1990s, we went to church, and I was reading Harry Potter, and I remember my mom being like, "You don't want to bring that in." She's like, "Some of those people think that that's evil."
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, "This kid that's going to school,
Fiction?
Yeah,
That he's having like real problems that kids have?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's wow. Okay.
But yes, I remember it was on TV or something, so I had to watch it with commercials and stuff. So, but I did watch it, and that's probably the only other time I've ever seen this before. It's just this one time, and now this.
I watched it on VHS.
Ooh, what's that?
I know. That collection I have, remember I showed you?
Yes.
That vintage collection.
Oh, is it back there right now?
It is.
Oh, wow. If only we had a VHS player, it could have saved us a rental.
Yeah. I think it is. I think I have it.
Maybe.
I posted on social media, like it's been a month or two, I think, of the collection of my VHS.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah, good times.
You have some interesting ones in there. I remember you've got like Money Talks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why Money Talks?
Probably because it was on sale.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Some people, I don't know if people remember that movie, but that was Rush Hour before Rush Hour, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's the same director with Chris Tucker. And then they were like, well, this is fun. Let's bring Jackie Chan in.
Yeah, Jackie Chan. But the cast, I don't know, this is kind of like a start of for Neve Campbell anyway. Mm-hmm. This was like one of her first wide release movies.
Was she doing Party of Five at this time?
No idea.
Yes, she was. It was 1994 to 2000.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah. So she was on Party of Five, you know, about those parents getting killed, I think in a car crash, and they have to kind of figure out what they're going to do and live. And the main character of Lost, Jack, was the big brother in that show.
Okay. I don't remember Party of Five. I remember the name, but I can't remember if I ever watched it.
Yeah, I don't remember watching it. I know my sister did, but I didn't really care for it at the time. I was not old enough to appreciate it. But yeah, she was in Party of Five at this time. Who else do we got?
We got Feruza Balk, who plays Nancy.
What else was she in at this time? I know she was in The Water Boy, I think
Yes.
after this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. She was in The Island of Dr. Moreau the same year, which is just a shit show of a
Oh
movie.
no.
It's a terrible, terrible
At
movie.
least she could be like, "Hey, but I was in the craft."
And she plays like a crossbreed of like a werewolf or something, a wolf or something.
Oh dear.
That's what the whole movie is her dad is Marlon Brando and he's crossbreeding humans with animals.
Mm. We have Robin Tooney, who plays Sarah.
Wearing a wig throughout this whole movie, we
Mm.
found out because she was in a movie called Empire Records before where she shaved her head.
Yes. So that's pretty drastic. And she looks pretty good with a shaved head. I
Yeah,
thought.
I showed you a picture.
Yeah, I thought she looked pretty good. I was like, you get it, girl. Like, I'd love to shave my head, but, I'm scared to death of what I look like. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Rachel True, who plays Rochelle.
I remember her being the love interest in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
So, yeah. Christine Taylor, Ben Stiller's wife, plays the bully as well.
Awesome.
And then Skeet Ulrich plays her kind of love interest, Robin Tooney's boyfriend in this, who would later go on to be in Scream with Neve Campbell.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty scary, pretty crazy.
It's all scary. So I don't know if you know this, but this movie, it was pretty popular.
Hmm.
But Siskel and Ebert actually gave it 2 thumbs down.
I imagine.
They said it was depressing and the witchcraft scenes were the only good part.
It feels cheap. Like, it feels like they didn't have a lot of money to do this, which I'm sure they didn't.
They may not have. But we'll talk a little bit about things later, about the bugs and everything that is in here.
So this opening scene is pretty funny because it's like a 90s... I referred to this movie as grunge witchcraft in my notes. Because the opening scene in the movie is like flashes of the desert and the ocean and fireballs getting thrown around, and it's like the craft.
Yeah.
And then we see Robin Tooney and her parents like flying on a plane, coming to. Does this take place in Los Angeles? I'm assuming, like California.
I'm guessing.
Yeah,
We'll say yes. We'll just go with that because I have no idea.
but it's pretty funny this opening scene because they've as they're driving like Robin Tooney and her parents, which she has a dad in this, and I'm assuming her mom. But the mom is never in this movie.
No, the dad has a little part, but yeah, you see the mom, and when they get to their new home, I guess, she's done. She's gone.
Yeah, she's just working, I guess.
Peace out. This is my part.
I guess so.
I'm out of here. I don't have to raise a kid or anything.
Because at the end, spoilers, but she's like, your mom and dad were on a plane. I'm like, Mom?
Who's that? And I did say that the opening had devil music.
Yes, I think I called it because it was Our Lady Peace.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, I think we watched this through Hulu, right? Or Amazon, something. But if you paused it, it would tell you the song that was playing.
Yeah, which is cool.
So I was like, ooh, Our Lady Peace. I was right.
And I say devil music, and I don't mean it
Right.
because I listen to that kind of music, and it's not. It's just what people say.
Yeah, well, I don't think we get a reasoning why they're moving to California. But they're in this new house. This like fancy old house. Well, it looks kind of beat up, I will say.
Yeah, it's like medium. It's medium class.
Medium, yeah. I guess they could afford it maybe. But it's funny. She walks upstairs to her room and like her balcony door's already open.
Oh,
You think that would be closed?
yeah. Like anybody can creep on in there.
Yeah. Well, she puts up a picture of her mom. Well, just a woman at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes downstairs and she's like rummaging through some boxes and this dude comes in.
Yeah, with a snake.
Yeah, as they go into the house, first they pass like there's a snake on the road, but yes, this dude has a snake. And he's like, he says something to the effect of, he asks Robin, what's her name in the movie? Sarah?
Sarah.
Yeah, I put Robin in here, so I'll say Sarah.
Oh, I have both.
Okay. But this crazy dude is like preaching at Sarah, like, and he asks her if she like wants the snake back, and
Talking in tongues.
yeah, pretty much. And he's asking her like, what's the matter with her? And she's like, Dad, there's a crazy man in here. The doors weren't locked for some reason.
Yeah.
And the dad chases him out.
He's probably a squatter. He's like, this was my home until you got here.
That's like that episode of The Simpsons where they they come home after abandoning their house, and Otto, the bus driver, and his girlfriend are living in there.
Oh boy.
He's like, "Hey, Crystal, wake up!"
He's like, watch that corner over there. That's where I peed.
Yeah. I had a bunch of bugs in here with me. You'll probably find them later.
Yeah. They're in the walls right now.
So the dad's all like, "Hun, you want to go to school tomorrow? Why? You don't have a uniform. You can just stay home until you get your uniform."
Yeah, just relax.
And she's like, "Well, I can't stay home and watch daytime TV forever."
She's like, I've gotta get back in there. I gotta get back to school. It's okay. And we're like, okay. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
But sure.
which as a kid, there was nothing more boring to me than going over to my grandparents' house and watching daytime TV.
Yes.
Like if I was off for
didn't
school,
Mm-mm.
they would watch like Wheel of Fortune and maybe that'd be fun, but then there was like nothing on.
Yeah. Talk shows and when Maury came on, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But geez, yeah, no, I didn't like it.
And then my grandma would watch her stories, as she said, the
Soap operas,
which I felt very boring. So it cuts to school the next day. She goes to like a Catholic school, and she's walking in, and as she goes through the door, she sees like a gigantic cross with Jesus on it.
Yeah, because I think we find out later it's a Catholic school.
Yeah, they're all in uniforms and skirts and jackets and ties and stuff. Which Breckenmeyer is one of the bullies in this. He's been in a ton of stuff. He was the skater guy in Clueless. I think I told you that he tries to jump out the window on the first floor in Clueless when he finds his grades.
Right, yeah. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's like, "With the suicides, please stop." He's like trying to jump out on the first floor. So at the school, there are the three girls. You got Fairuza Balk as Nancy, Neve Campbell as somebody, and then Bonnie and Rachel True
as Rochelle.
So they're like the three girls. They have a reputation of being witches already, I guess. I don't know how that came to be, but...
Yeah, that guy that you were just talking about, he's like, scary bitch alert. I'm like, well, that's fucking rude. I know kids are awful.
Yeah.
But damn.
As we'll come to find later throughout this movie, kids are awful, but...
They're very awful.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh no, witches, we're scared." And I'm like, well, what are the circumstances for them to be like, "Oh, they're witches"?
Which, they don't help because Nancy has a noose in her locker.
I was going to say, yeah, she opens it and it's got like this noose, which couldn't have that today.
No. Oh my goodness, no.
That's like in The Breakfast Club where he had a flare gun. The nerd had a flare gun in his locker and it went off. Can't have that anymore.
No way.
If you ever could. I doubt you could ever have that.
Yeah, I don't think that was like ever a thing. It's just, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah. Well, Breckenmeyer, and he's friends with Skeet Ulrich. He's like a football player, the guy Skeet Ulrich is. And there's another guy that I thought was the guy who played Johnny Drama on Entourage, but it's not. There's this third dude of the group of friends who doesn't really say anything throughout the movie. But I thought that was who the character was. But no, it's not, and he doesn't really do anything in this movie anyway.
Okay, he's just there.
Yeah. So we're in class and stuff, and Sarah is sitting in the back of the room, and there's this running gag that they're always in French class.
I know.
I don't know why. They're not really in any other classes. Well, they're in science class, I guess, but they're mainly in French class throughout this whole thing.
And I read some trivia, which I didn't write it down because I'm just like, oh, please. But they're like, oh, what was written on the French board wasn't really French.
Really?
It wasn't correct. And I'm just like, who gives a fuck?
Years and years ago, I saw something funny on Reddit where it was like a picture of a porno where it was like a school scene and it was like a lady standing over like a dude. And the math on the backboard, someone had posted, and it was like, the math is right. Like, all the math on the board was right.
Well, that's kind of cool.
That's pretty funny. Like, the math has to be accurate in this porno we're making.
But if there was like a French movie and they had the English wrong on the blackboard, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just whatever.
You really couldn't look it up on YouTube or Wikipedia at the time, I guess, if you're making French.
No, yeah.
Putting French up there. But Sarah's sitting in the back room, and I think Neve Campbell is in this class with her, and she sees that Sarah is like she has a pencil and she's balancing it perfectly on the desk.
Yeah.
And then the pencil starts turning.
Yeah. So we get some witchy shit right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was funny to me because Neve Campbell is looking at her balancing this pencil, and the pencil is just standing up on the desk, and she's just like,
yeah.
She's like, how does she stand that pencil up like that?
She was like shocked.
Yes.
Like ghost face shocked. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Breckenmeyer has a really bad line in here where he's like bad at speaking French because it's one of those classes where you have to speak French the whole time. And he's like, why do we have to learn French? We live in LA. We should be learning Mexican.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh god.
Oh gosh.
Which I did not take the Spanish class where you had to talk Spanish the entire time. I stopped right before that.
Me too.
I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Mm-mm. No way. No thanks.
My buddy Tom did, I think, but yeah, you had to speak it the whole time. So we get some background here where the other women, like the three witches, are talking about needing a fourth. You don't really know why.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, we need a fourth. And Neve Campbell's like, I think I found a fourth for us. And Sarah comes up to the group of girls in science class, and she's like, hey, can I sit with you guys? And Firuza Balk just gives her the biggest stink eye.
Yeah. She kind of scares her off.
She,
She's like, fine, I'll go to a different group.
look, it's no fault of her own, but some of the looks she was given in here were kind of weird. Like her face, she has a very distinctive face, I guess.
She has a really big mouth.
Yeah, some of the scenes where she's like going crazy later were making me laugh.
I know.
Let's just say that she could eat a sandwich whole if she needed to.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if she's a good singer.
I don't know, but I do have some funny trivia. Fuck it, I'll tell it right now.
Okay, yeah.
So, doing some background of this story, Firuza Balk, I guess, was into witchcraft or was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
So she bought like a store or something
Mm-hmm.
that she operated for a bit.
Right.
The funny thing about that is I was doing research and she appeared on an episode of like Ghost Hunters or something like that.
Really?
Where she has this art studio, I guess, and I don't know if she owns the whole building, but goddamn, it was a huge building. And she was like, oh, it's a good place to like paint. And it showed her like painting. It was very funny. There's a woman reenacting what happened that doesn't look like her at all.
Mm.
She was like, I was in the room painting, and like this lady that looks like she's 30 years younger than her is like painting. She's like, and yeah, I didn't watch most of it, but it was just funny to me. But she's like, oh, this, I could hear people walking by, she's like, there's this very long hallway you have to walk down to go to the bathroom, and I could hear someone like walk behind me.
Oh, wow.
So she had a medium or like a ghost person, which that'll play a little bit later into the next movie we'll do for this episode or podcast. But she had like a seance or a medium come in there. And the funny thing about mediums, I guess I should say I don't believe in any of it.
Mm.
I don't think it's real. Paranormal Activity, I mean, people say that there's movies about it. I don't believe the movies are real. I don't believe in Paranormal Activity, the movies.
I find it very fascinating.
I
want to believe in it.
Nah, I just don't. I just don't. And maybe they'll never listen to this. Maybe that's because I was raised in a religious household.
That's okay.
That after a while, I was just like, nah, I don't believe it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So, but she brought like a medium in, and this lady, they always sound like they're making it up on the spot. Like when these mediums are talking about what's going on, she's like, "Yeah, these got these dark spirits. Yeah, dark spirits in here, and something bad happened here. Yeah, and they are not happy.
Yeah.
I'm just like they always sound like
bad.
Like, if you've experienced that, like, if you talk to the Ghostbusters, they're going to be like, oh, it's like a level 5,
right.
free-forming vapor, as they said in the movie. You're going to be like, well,
that's your kind of language.
That sounds real. Like, they sound like they know what they're talking about. This lady is like, yeah. She's like the fucking SNL skit. Like, that's the ticket.
It's like, where's my script?
But yeah, so that's just kind of a relation where she is kind of into this stuff. And people thought she was a witch or something for a while, but yeah, she just kind of was interested in it.
I mean, I was interested in, I think it's called paganism or pagan for a little bit. It's just very nice. It's more like earthy.
Yeah.
Almost like the Japanese.
Shinto?
Yeah. How they're just love the earth and worship, everything that helps us live, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I really like.
I told you, I think after this episode, after we watched the movie or something, but I did try magic one time.
Oh.
So basically, we're going off script here quite a bit.
We're off the rails here.
But there's a comic book artist I like, and I've got a lot of his stuff right here behind me, Grant Morrison.
A little bit.
He believes in like magic and all that stuff, like serious magic with a CK instead of an IC.
Whoa.
But he said one time where he's like, oh, there's a belief in magic where like if you write down what you want, like money or fame or whatever, and take those letters and combine them into one symbol, like combine them, and then you like meditate on that symbol. You just focus on it, you meditate it, you want it, you think about it, and then at the end you rip it up or you burn it, then you will get what you want. So I tried that. I don't even remember what I said I wanted. Maybe like a relationship or something at the time. But I was like, company. I don't know.
I want a girlfriend.
But I tried it, and it didn't work. And I was like, fuck Grant Morrison.
Oh.
No, but I don't know. I was like, well, fuck, it doesn't seem like I'm going to have to sell my soul to the devil for this, so might as well give it a try.
It seems kind of, it's like a vision board.
Kinda, I
You
think
put
so.
things up there and he like really kind of manifested.
Yeah, he was doing The Secret with me now that I think about it. It's like, if you
Oh.
envision it, you will get it.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, if it was like you have to sacrifice something or like sell your soul to the devil, I'd be like, nah.
I'll
I don't
pass.
I don't believe in that anyway, but yeah, just to be safe.
Just not gonna mess with that. So back to the movie.
Oh, yes.
That we're doing called The Craft.
Skeet Ulrich, Chris, yeah, he's flirting with Robin or Sarah. And it's very funny. They're sitting there at the cafeteria, which is, or like the common area, which is outside. And as they're talking, there's this cop in the background who's got like a full like winter's jacket on, just walking in the background. I'm like, whoa.
That's me.
I was like, it's L.A. I don't know how cold it gets there, but
I'm like, I'm cold all the time.
But he's flirting with her, asking her what about herself, and he's like, well, you can come to watch me practice football after school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, that sounds fun.
And he also tells her that the three, Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle, are witches of Eastwick.
Oh, he calls them the bitches of Eastwick.
Oh, maybe my autocorrect put witches.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, he calls Nancy a slut. Here, I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just thought this funny. He's like, what are you doing after school? You could come watch me practice. And she's like,
Oh,
nah.
that sounds so fun. I would
Yeah.
just love to watch you practice.
Of somebody that I don't know.
Ugh.
Also, a little fun trivia here. The Smiths song "How Soon Is Now" is playing while the three other girls come by and they talk to her, and they're walking by football practice, but they're kind of getting to know her a little bit. But right here, the Smiths' "How Soon Is Now" is playing, which is the theme song to the show Charmed.
Yes,
Which
that's right.
the director of this movie has a real problem with that, because he said that before this movie came out, he went to like the studios or whatever with an idea for a TV show about witches.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, How Soon Is Now should be the theme song because I really love that song. They were like, nah, we're not going to do that now.
You know, that's no.
So he went to make this movie with his idea, and then later Charmed came out.
And they're like, oh, actually, that's a really good idea. We're going to go ahead and do that now without you.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was not happy with that.
I don't blame him. But you know what's sad is that Sarah does kind of go to the football practice. I think she's just kind of like, well, this guy's kind of cute. And she's kind of walking outside by the fence,
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting a glimpse of him doing his thing. And then the three girls come walking up.
I put it in my notes here. I'm like, I think these girls will be pretty popular. Like, they're very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I guess other than, if they have terrible personalities, maybe not, but I think they look okay.
Yeah, in that time, I don't think goth was very popular.
Yeah, I guess so.
As it is today. Or even just being yourself seems to be a lot more popular than, you had to fit in this mold.
Yeah. Well, Nancy tells Sarah here, she's like, oh, Chris, that guy, he hits on anything with tits. And Neve Campbell has a very funny line. She's like, well, except me.
No.
Because we find out later, but she's got severe burns all over her body.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever say why.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have it in my notes later. I don't know. But yeah, she feels ugly because she's got scars, and that's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's disappointed. She's like, well, Chris hasn't ever hit on me, the son of a bitch. And they're like, well, come on, let's go to the mall. And Sarah here has an interesting line. She's like, I don't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy or Neve Campbell are like, well, that's okay. We get a 5-finger discount.
Whoa.
And as they leave, Nancy says something to Chris. She's like, well, don't screw up or whatever. And he fails. He like falls on the field.
Trips and yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy. It's a kiddie kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, as they're going to the shopping mall or whatever, they find out that Sarah has slit her wrist previously.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all the way down the wrists. And Neve Campbell's like, oh, you did it right. You did it the right way.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then Rochelle's like, how did you know that? How did you know that was the right way?
How do you even know?
Which way is right? What is how? And then she was just like questioning the whole thing. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's kind of sad that it's common knowledge. I've never tried to do that, but
Yeah.
I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know. You hear it. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how she was just like, what? How? How do you know that? Just like everybody knows that. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Well, they go into this like witch shop, which I guess now would be kind of like a holistic medicine type place if you went to a store like this today.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah walks in with the rest of the girls, and the shop owner is all like, "Oh, that ring on your finger, that used to be your mother's." She's like, "What?"
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Do I know you?
They walk around the store and stuff, and the shop owner gives Sarah a book called The Craft. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
"It's the script. It's the script to the movie."
This is so you know what to say next.
Yeah, it'd be funny if it had her name. It's like The Craft, 1995. And so she's all like, "Well, can I buy this and this?" And she's like, "Sure, that'll be $50." And Sarah, despite earlier saying no money, she pulls a $50 bill out and buys all this shit.
Yeah. And even the shop owner was like, well, at least you have money and like your
Yeah.
friends or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, so you know they steal and you just let them do it?
Yeah, I guess so. But I thought that was so funny because she specifically earlier just was like, "Shopping, I can't go. I don't have money. Here's $50."
Yeah.
There's a missing scene where they rob people, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe that was her thing of trying to get out of it.
Oh, probably. That sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. Be like, no, I can't. I gotta feed my dog.
Yeah, so I guess they decide to go through Skid Row because they're fucking walking later at night, and
Right?
there's all these like homeless people and what I'm assuming are drug addicts just walking around.
Very scary area, that's for sure.
Yeah, some guy grabs Sarah, and you hear a guy in the background be like, "Come back to Jesus, Sarah." I thought that was funny. But the snake guy is still there.
Yeah.
And he's like chasing her again, and she like runs across the street, and he's following her, and he gets just ran over by a car.
I guess I didn't remember this because this freaked me out, and I mean, it's not even a short thing. You see the car run over his head.
You see it quite a bit, yeah. It like shows it.
It made me jump.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I probably yelled out.
Probably.
But it was kind of a neat shot, but I mean, it did run over his head, so I'm thinking his head should probably have been like a pumpkin and just.
I guess so. Yeah, it's very graphic in how what it did. So after the girls like see this guy get hit, the other three are laughing so hard. They were like, "Oh, he was chasing you. Did you see him? He got what he deserved." I'm like, well, that's pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah, like that. I don't know who deserves that. Nobody.
Hey, we never really find out what this guy is about. This snake dude. I think that's it. Like he's dead, and you never find out why he was chasing her.
Nope, no idea.
But they're excited because they think that they caused it.
Oh, because the four are together.
Yeah, they were like, "Were
Ooh.
you hoping that happened?" And she's like, kinda. And they were like, "We were too." And they're like, "We made it happen."
Oh my gosh.
So this is where we kind of get the backstory. They're sitting in like a little area that they go to. I guess it's got a bunch of couches and shit, or couches and chairs. And this is where they talk about their guy. They're like, "Oh, we worship Menon," which I kept thinking they were saying Manuel or Menon, but they were like, "Oh, he's the god of spirit or something. He's like the force." And he was like, if Jesus and the devil were fighting, they would be fighting or Manuel would be the stadium that they fought in. So it's just showing that like they're like Menon has been around forever, and he's more powerful than God or the devil.
Yeah, wow. That's much. And he is completely made up too.
Is okay.
Yeah, they didn't want to actually use a real entity or anything. If you believe in that, because they didn't want people to be trying to summon something that's possibly real.
Gotcha. I did read later when they're on the beach doing the summoning, they were using like real spells or real incantations, and some crazy shit was happening.
Yep, I got some stuff on that.
Yeah, we'll get there. But this is where we kind of get some backstory about Sarah. The girls are asking her like, "Are you kind of prone to magic, or you're sensitive to magic?" And she's like, "Well, sometimes I prayed for rain, and like a pipe would burst." She's like, "Other times, I was so overwhelmed and just wanted everyone to go away. I went deaf for 3 days."
Yeah, that's crazy. If that shit happened to me, I'd be like, I need to go see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So Nancy's telling her, she's like, it's very funny the way she's wording it. She's like, "Menon fills you up. He possesses you. He gets in you.
He's all up in it.
He taps that."
He gets in, and it feels good. God,
yeah.
no.
That's funny. So we cut to Sarah hanging out with Skeet Ulrich, Chris, and they're just sitting there on like this roof or something.
Yeah.
It's like a party, I suppose. But he's asking her, he's like, "Oh, hey, do you want to come over to my house?" or something like that. And she's like, "No." It's like, "I'm good."
She's like, "No, we're just hanging out.
Yeah,
It's my first day here.
it's my first date with you. And he kind of acts like a baby about it. He's like, fine, fine, whatever. She's like, no, I don't want you to be mad. And he's like, I'm not. She's like, I'm not that kind of girl. I want to get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, fine, that's fine. It's perfect,
He's like, yeah, totally respect that. I am just that kind of guy that is going to be completely cool with this.
Yes. Cut to.
The next day.
They're in science class again, and the three girls are talking to Sarah, and they're like, did you have a date? So how did your date go with Chris? And she's like, why? And it's like, well, he's told the whole school that you guys had sex, and you're the worst lay he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, no, he didn't. And like, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't believe. She's like, no, that never happened. We didn't even kiss. I mean, we didn't even hold hands.
Yeah, and Nancy's like, hey, he said the same thing to me, about me. So she later confronts Chris in the hallway again, and Breckenmeyer steps in. She's like, I need to talk to Chris. And he's like, Chris isn't available right now.
And he's right there.
He's right behind him, yeah.
Like, this isn't going to work.
So she does yell at Chris, and she's like, why would you say that? And he's like, stop begging to go out with me, God.
Yeah, which good for her for confronting him, right? And not just taking other people's word.
Yeah.
You know, she just went directly to the source, which I just love that.
Yeah.
I wish more people would do that and just be like, hey, did you really say this?
Like,
and
what
then,
the fuck? Yeah.
And then she finds out, yes, he really is an asshole.
He's a very big asshole, I guess. And as he walks away, she's like, fuck you. And he goes, nah. Fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So
he's just being a baby because he didn't get any sex from her.
Yeah.
Didn't get the sexing.
What a baby. That'd be funny, though. She could probably turn it around and be like, yeah, we did have sex. He lasted 5 seconds.
True.
Or smallest penis I've ever seen in my life.
I couldn't even feel it.
She's like, I'm going to men on because he fills you up. So now we get to see kind of the other girls' school life. We see Rochelle is her name.
Mm-hmm.
She is like on the diving team or just doing dives, I guess, for the class.
Swim team.
Gym or something. She's on like the top board there getting ready to jump, and she's kind of like freaking out.
Yeah, that was scary. My goodness.
Yeah, she's like having a little moment of a panic attack, and Christine Taylor, Ben Stiller's wife now, is sitting there watching her and kind of like she's the jerk.
Yeah, she's got her other minions with her.
Yeah,
kind of snickering.
They're laughing at her. Yeah,
and
as Rochelle starts to jump, she goes shark, and she botches it and like backflops into it.
Backflops, not even a belly flop. I'm
no,
like, holy shit.
So this is so strange. They are in the locker room. Rochelle is like, what the fuck's going on? And she hears, or Christine Taylor goes, hey, Rochelle, I found a
pube.
Yeah, she's like, I found a pubic hair in my toothbrush. It's probably yours or one of your nappy hairs.
In her hairbrush.
Yeah, and she's like, why are you being like this to me?
Yeah.
And I am repeating what the movie says. But she's like, why are you doing this? And she goes, I don't like negroids.
Yeah.
And I had to look that up. I'm like, I've never heard that before. But yes, it is a term.
Yes, that was from the movie, not from us. Don't come hating at us. We are not like that. She is African American. She's darker skinned. She's got the curly hair. She's different. So they're scared of that. And they make fun of her.
But just being out and out racist like that is fucking crazy.
It's awful.
Like, when you see people out, or, like, look online and there's videos of people being out and out racist like that, you're like, well, these people have a real problem.
They really do. And I think a lot of it is just they have their own self problems. They need to look inside because they're lashing out for a reason.
Yeah, but just to say, like, a racist thing to another person like that, just out and out, is fucking insane.
It's hate. And hate is never good.
Yeah, and I guess they're just trying to show you that she's a bad character, but I'm just like, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get that. We got it.
Which it does. It does have a very funny ending to this later, which we'll get there.
It does, yeah.
Because there's just something she says makes me laugh so hard.
I do have something. So originally, Rachel True was not supposed to be written into the script. It was rewritten to add the subplot of a racist bully played Christine Taylor.
How great is that, huh? It's like, well, we're going to write a black character into this movie, and we're going to make sure you get racist, epithets yelled at you.
Yeah, and she didn't realize that. And she actually experienced this in real life per her own Twitter from 2018, she said, quote, that year MTV had 3 white craft girls present at the movie awards. I was not included or involved. Went as a guest of someone. This was standard operation procedure at that time.
Oh, I bet.
End quote.
Yeah.
So that was from her own Twitter, which it's really sad.
Yes.
That happened. It should have been the 4 of them all the way through. And I'm not blaming it on the other 3 girls.
No,
They probably didn't have any choice.
Yeah, or saying
even
it.
know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. This movie also won a MTV Movie Award for Best Fight, which they beat Jackie Chan in Jackie Chan's first strike. I showed you that fight, which was just amazing.
It was.
He jumps through a ladder. It's insane. And then they won Best Fight for their end, where Nancy and Sarah are fighting.
It goes with popularity. I think I've said this on another episode, is whatever's popular, which should not be, because it should be whichever's best.
Yeah, well, Fairuza Balk, oddly, is like almost in tears with how happy she is. She's like, thank you so much. Like, I don't know what to say to this. I'm like, you won Best Fight. It's not an Oscar.
Calm down.
Yes, now we get Neve Campbell at the hospital, her mom and her sitting there, and the doctor's like, oh, we'll go. This has a good chance. And, you're like, what's going on? The doctor here is the lady who played the captain in Starship Troopers, who gets crushed by a door at the end of the movie. But basically, yes, they are dragging a needle across her scar tissue to clear it up, I guess.
It's almost like a tattoo. It kind of goes in and out, in and out. Just a small little needle kind of poking in and out. And eventually she just screams out in pain. Yeah,
she screams her head off. I did watch an episode of Ink Master after I got my last tattoo. I got way into watching that show for some reason. Mm-hmm. But they did do ones where people with scar tissue. There was a guy there that had his leg cut off, or he was an amputee, and the guy wanted the end of his knee tattooed. And the guy tattooing him was like, it's rough and go. We could be doing fine. He has no feeling. And then, we hit a cluster of nerves. He's like, he's got a bunch of scar tissue. You don't know how it's going to go. So, God, getting a tattoo or getting that needle dragged across scar tissue like that.
Yeah, I bet that's not good. There's so many nerve endings in your body.
Yeah. So, Robin is at her house, and we have, a quick flashback here of her slitting her wrists. Mm-hmm. Which... was she under the influence of something, or did something make her do it, or did she just do it? I can't remember. It's been a minute since we watched it.
I want to say it was maybe because of her mom.
Yeah.
Which we find out later is not alive. She died at birth, and maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she was just depressed and tried to kill herself.
I guess, yeah, because it shows her she has this cup, and it looks like it's full of blood. Because I wrote a note here where I'm like, did she drink blood? But she drops the glass or something, I think, on the ground. But yeah, she slits her wrist.
Or maybe she was seeing things.
Maybe.
Of her abilities.
Yeah.
And it was just freaking her out.
She talks about being sensitive and stuff like that, true, yeah. So now we get to see Nancy's home life, which she lives in a trailer park.
Yeah. It's not as nice. The poor girl, you kind of understand why she is the way she is. Because she's walking home in the rain, and she's soaked, and she goes inside, and her mom's drunk, and dad is a slob.
Piece of shit, yeah. I wrote that what he said down here because the lights go off, and the mom's like, did the power go off? You gotta check the breakers or whatever. And he goes, it's a storm, Grace. It's a connection issue, Grace. That's why the lights are off, Grace. He just keeps saying Grace after the end of every sentence. But there's bulls everywhere throughout this trailer catching water. And the mom is yelling at the stepdad, I'm assuming who this guy is. Mm-hmm. But she's like, well, if you can't pay the bills, then what are you good for? And he's like, you know what I'm good for.
Yuck.
So that's Nancy, I think she goes into her room, but we kind of get a look at everybody's personal life here. The next day, the 3 girls tell Sarah that they're going to go on a field trip, and they take the public bus, which they are all wearing sunglasses, sitting in the back. Very cool.
They're so cool.
I told you this at the time, but the guy driving the bus looks exactly like Nacho's father from Better Call Saul.
Oh, yeah. I think you even looked it up. You're like, nope, it's not him.
It is not. I wish I could remember who it was at this point, but no, it is not. It's just a guy. But yeah. Oh, I remember. I put it down in my notes here. He's in Tremors. He's one of the people in the town. He's in Tremors.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's the Spanish guy in Tremors. There's only the other guy. That's the only other guy in there.
There's that guy and then the Spanish guy.
Well, I mean, he's the only Spanish person in that movie.
Oh, okay.
So they're in the woods and they're performing like a ritual here, and they have a big knife. They hold it to each other's neck and they make them like say a ritual.
Mm-hmm. And then they kiss each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't write that down.
Except for Sarah and Nancy. They kiss on the cheeks, but everybody else does full lips.
Wow, I'm surprised I missed that as a man.
Just a little peck.
Maybe that's why everything goes wrong. If she had kissed her on the lips, they would be like, she'd be undying devotion to her.
I don't know. You can kind of tell that she's all like, oh my God, am I going to have to kiss her? Oh, jeez. And then it was just a cheek, and she's all like, whew, okay.
Yeah. Well, they're making like this concoction with this goblet, and they say as above, so below, which is a thing from Aleister Crowley. He was a dude that actually practiced magic in like the early 1900s, 50s, I think.
Yeah, they prick their finger and put it in to the goblin, and I never, ever, ever suggest anybody doing this.
No.
Ever, 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 ever. I don't care how well you know people. Don't.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
It could kill you.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is, you know. But yeah, they end up drinking it, and I'm just all like, bleh. I just can't.
Yeah, they all say what they want. I think like.
Oh yeah, what their desires are.
Sarah says like she wants love, or she wants Chris to be undying love to her.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other two wish for. I know, Neve Campbell wants her skin to be okay, and Rochelle wants to be, not bullied.
Oh, yeah. Nancy wanted all the power of Manon.
Yes. But that's basically it. The other girls, like, Rochelle wants to stop being bullied. She wants.
All I put.
Yeah. Rochelle wants to be, wants revenge on her bullies, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Neve Campbell wants to look good, like her skin to be okay. And then, you do hear Sarah say that she wants love from Chris, and they're all laughing at her, like, really? Like,
yeah. Chris. Come on. Can you pick a better guy, at least?
So, and then, like, a bunch of butterflies fly all over them, and they're like, oh my God, look at that.
Yeah, it's Manon.
I guess. They're in school the next day, and Ski Ulrich won't stop looking at Sarah. He is, like, staring her down the whole time. And they're trying to go to the next class, and he, like, keeps trying to talk to her, and she's pissed off at him, and they realize that, like, the spell's working because he just won't stop talking to her and try to, like, talk with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he finally goes up to her one time, and she's like, hey, how about you tell your friends you're a lying sack of shit? And that you made everything up.
I think he's like, yes, I will.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's all like, okay, you got it.
And I think he says, like, he has a line before that where he's like, I'm a man, and when you're a man, you expect things from women. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's not true. I mean, yes, you may think that, but no. Not a good excuse.
Yeah, they go into, like, mass, I'm assuming, because they're in the church, and the father is giving him, like, he's doing a prayer, and Ski Ulrich, they're like, oh, carry my books. He's like, yes, and I think Neve Campbell gives him her books, too.
Yeah, they start kind of giggling and kind of directing him around and kind of bullying him.
Well, he deserves it.
I don't care. I didn't like it. I was just like two wrongs don't make a right kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Breckenmeyer and the other guy are giving him shit. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah, like, are you crazy? Yeah, I think even one of them made like the are you crazy sign, and he's just under a spell.
Yeah, they're like, it worked. It worked. The spell worked. Like he's under my thumb now. He's in love with me or infatuated with me. So then we cut to them like I think it was at Rochelle's house. And they're all kind of laughing and talking about, like, Chris and stuff. And Sarah's like, have you guys ever played light as a feather, stiff as a board? Mm-hmm. And they were like, no.
What? What's that?
She's like, basically, one of you lays on the ground, and then we try to lift you with just our index and middle finger on each hand. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be like, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Very good.
So they do that, and, like, they don't believe, but she's like, all right, everybody close their eyes. And they do it. They lift her off the ground.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm. And, like, Rochelle's like, I don't think this is working, guys. And they slowly open their eyes and realize that she's, like, maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah, maybe. They were like, oh, shit. And they're just like, stay, calm. Otherwise, you're going to drop to the floor. But then I guess the mom knocks on the door.
Yeah, she's like, hey, guys, what's going on? And then she falls back down.
Yeah, and she's like, oh.
Yeah, she's like, ow, my butt. They're watching, it shows them, like, at night watching Bewitched. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you care about watching Bewitched? I guess they are into anything that's witchcraft, I suppose.
Yeah, they're all like these badasses now, watching Bewitched and then walking in slow mo everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all like badassery all over the place.
Well, it's very funny when they're walking in slow mo. Like, I made a note because it's just so funny to look at, but like Sarah's chest is like bung bung. I'm just like, oh boy, they meant to do that on purpose.
Bunga bunga.
And then, so they're walking in the hallway. Sarah is, and she sees Christine Taylor, Rochelle's bully, and she like grabs some of her hair and yanks it out. And Christine Taylor's like, what the fuck? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I saw a bug. And she's like, you stupid bitch.
Oh, damn.
What they do then later that night is that Sarah is weaving some of the bully's hair into Rochelle's hair.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we get the backstory of Robin, where she's like, Rochelle is like, who's that lady on your dresser? And she's like, well, that's my mom. She died in childbirth.
Yeah, sad.
And Neve Campbell's like huddled in the corner, like praying for her scars to be taken away from her.
Yeah.
There's a very like sad, serious movie behind this one, where Neve Campbell is just like so sad and sick of the way she looks.
I know, and that's awful because I'm sure it's hard to accept your body sometimes. I know how that is.
Yeah.
But you gotta make peace with it.
Yeah. So the next day, Rochelle is again standing on the diving board, and bully Christine Taylor like takes her swimming cap off, and a bunch of hair comes out with it.
Yeah, like
A ton.
you can see they did a really good job. You can like see your scalp, and there's a little bit of blood, where the hair is coming out. So yeah, I was like, holy shit.
And so Rochelle is like all happy and shit that that's working. So she does a perfect dive, and the coach is like, wow, look at that.
What?
That was amazing.
I didn't know she could do that. Like, yeah, people didn't bully me. I could actually do what I'm intending to do.
Right. And then now we see Neve. She's like, the doctor's kind of looking at her scars, like, well, we'll see. Like, sometimes it takes a few times of this to work. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, how expensive was this to be, I wonder?
A shit ton, probably.
Well, the doctor is like kind of running like a scalpel or something, like an instrument across her scars. And basically what I imagine they did is like she's peeling the makeup off because you can start seeing like her perfect skin underneath.
Yeah, it's like, I thought it was like a cotton swab that she was kind of running across.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just kind of cleared away. Like it started crackling, like drying up the scars. And then it just cleared away to clear skin.
Yeah, exactly. And like, she's like, oh my God, like it's actually working. I didn't think this worked.
Holy shit, I thought I was just going to get a shit ton of money out of this. I didn't think it would actually work.
You're going to have to come back a few times.
I mean, we were going to have at least 5 more sessions.
I bought a car and a house. I need more. And then, Neve comes into school, into their French class, and she like takes her jacket off, and Breckenmeyer and the other guy are like, hey.
You're like, whoa.
You've got perfect skin now.
Where have you been? But I think the most attractive thing of that is just her confidence.
Yeah.
Not how she looks, but how she's presenting herself.
Yeah.
She's got her head up, because before she was like and just had her hair in her face and her head down, and now she's all like head back, shoulders up.
Yeah.
I'm all that. That's what, I'm just like, that's attractive.
Yeah, I'm sure that's.
But you could be a little bit too much though.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Don't be over. You just got to know the right confidence.
Yeah. Well,
I could go on.
Well, Rochelle and Neve Campbell, they thank Sarah for all she does, and you see like Nancy's pissed off that they're all thanking her.
Mm-hmm. A little jealous.
There's a line here where Rochelle says that Nancy doesn't want to be white trash, but she is white, so get over it.
Yikes.
I don't remember how that came about, but we do see in the trailer now with Nancy and her stepdad and mom, like the dad tries to beat the mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, I wrote that he has rainbow suspenders on like Robin Williams when he used to play Mork for Mork.
Wow. I
was
didn't
like,
notice.
Rainbow suspenders.
That's weird.
So yeah, he's trying to beat the mom. I don't remember what started it, but yeah, he's like beating on her, and Nancy comes out and she like screams and everything goes off. Like
everything starts sparking.
Yeah. And he falls down dead with a heart attack.
Yeah.
I think that even shows him like sitting in the ambulance as they're driving with this guy. Like the ambulance is trying to like keep him alive or something.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But we get a kind of a weird scene where it's like this guy, he's like an accountant or whatever, is like, Yeah, so your husband had a life insurance policy of $175,000.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, that goes to me? He's like, yeah, you're the
I
beneficiaries.
get that.
And then her and Nancy just start laughing uncontrollably.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was thinking, like, if you're this insurance agent guy now, you'd be like, maybe we should look into this.
So, what were you doing at the time of his death?
I'm sorry, your policy doesn't cover witchcraft to cause a heart attack.
Which, I mean, okay, probably after funeral costs, you're going to have, and maybe taxes, and you don't ever get all of that at once. I don't know. I mean, I could see where they could still live pretty comfortably, but
Yeah, I was thinking that when we watched it. I'm like, 175,000 doesn't seem like that much.
not really.
Yeah, anyway. The math, I'm sure, is wrong. But yes, I was like, oh, 175 because we see that they have a nice apartment now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the girls go over to Nancy's apartment, and it's a super nice, like, loft, and the mom has this fucking jukebox with records in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much did all this cost? Like, your money is gone.
They're probably in major debt now.
Yes, they're like, we got 175, we spent 250.
Yeah, it kind of shows a little bit of Neve Campbell's newfound confidence where she walks by this, decent looking guy and she
Yeah.
goes, nice ass.
Right. Yeah, she's become like a hoe.
Oh.
Faux show. No, yeah, she's like, what? He has a nice ass. What? And they're like, Nev, come on.
Like, that's a little nut.
But the mom is like, has nice clothes on now, and she's like telling all the girls about her house. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, I love this couch. And Nancy behind her, mimes shooting her in the head.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Like, your mom's actually happy and she looks, I mean, I think she was still drinking, but she looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think she's got like a cocktail in her hands.
Yeah.
And they were like, what's this jukebox? And she's like, oh, this jukebox just plays Connie Francis records. And she's like, I always wanted a jukebox that had nothing but Connie Francis.
Here you go.
And I'm just like, so you spent all your money.
Yes. Why not?
So the girls are like hanging out at Nancy's apartment now at night, and they're like, oh, there's a spell we could change what we look like. And Sarah changes her eyes to be brown and no one notices it. They're like, what?
That's it?
She's like, fine, how about this? I'll change my wig. And she changes her hair from brown to blonde.
Throws it off real quick and throws the blonde on real quick.
The CGI is not that great here. She like runs her hands through her
No.
hair and it turns blonde.
Yeah, she's like, look over there. And then they look back and she's blonde.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, wow, cool.
But yeah, no, the CGI was, I mean, you kind of see it as she's putting her hand like through her hair, that it's changing as her hands are wiping through her hair. But it wasn't that great. No.
Yeah, the CGI in this is not that great to begin with. It shows later that night, like Sarah wakes up because Skeet Ulrich is outside her window, and she's like, "It's 3 a.m. What the fuck are you doing?" And he was like, "I think we should move in together."
Yeah, I know, right? And basically, he's just all like, "I can't eat, I can't sleep. I think I love you."
Yeah, he's like,
You
"I've never
know.
loved anything other than I think my mom and a puppy."
Yeah, which I mean, a puppy. That's I understand that.
Yeah, and her dad comes out and he's like, "Hey, buddy, can I help you with something?" And he's like, "No one can help me."
Yeah,
I'm like, Jesus.
I mean, he's kind of got these feelings that he's never felt before, and he doesn't understand where they're at or why they're here. And
Yeah.
and Robin doesn't even do anything to really help. She's just kind of blowing him off.
Yeah, I know. She's kind of overwhelmed because in the next scene she goes to the magic store owner. She's like, "What do I do? He's going crazy, and I cast a love spell." And she's like, "Well, you have to have it run its course."
Yep.
She's like, and there, she basically says like everything has an equal and opposite reaction. Where she's like, if you do magic, there's gonna be a reaction to it. Like something's gonna happen because of what you've done.
Times 3.
Oh yes, the times 3. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit.
yeah, and actually,
Oh shit.
times 3. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! But the other women are there with the other ladies are there because Nancy buys like a black book.
Ooh, she actually buys it.
Yeah.
And she even mentions, she's like, I've got money now.
Right. Yeah.
With my convertible outside.
So this is where now they're going to the beach, and each of them are carrying something like they're carrying like a Nemo fish,
Oh.
snake, and a butterfly.
Yeah, they have a butterfly, a parakeet, a fish, and a snake. Yes. I went back through. I was very interested in what animals that they had.
Yes, they're carrying that, and they're doing like this seance or something on the beach, and they're all like oh, I, the witch of the west, and I, the witch of the north and the south, do let into, they're doing all this shit. And
Mm-hmm.
I put in my notes here, it'd be funny if some dude like walked by in the background. Like, what the fuck's going on over there?
Yeah, the fun thing about this one that I found is that Feruza, she heard from another witch that the beach that they were on didn't like pagan ceremonies. And since they used an actual Wiccan ritual, some spooky shit really happened.
Oh, wow.
That Feruza got sick before filming this scene. Colony of bats started hanging around the set, and the waves would rise up and extinguish all the candles that they had.
Wow.
And it washed away the altar. The director, Andrew Fleming, said it was weird. When they would be shooting, the surf came up higher, and when they stopped shooting, it would go back down. Another weird thing is that a white owl would follow the cast and crew around. So just another really creepy thing they couldn't
Yeah,
explain.
some kind of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think Nancy gets shocked by lightning here, and it just cuts, and it's the morning. And like the other three girls wake up, and they're like, "Where's Nancy at?" And it shows her she's walking on water,
Yeah.
which is
She's
bad
gone.
CGI.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, and at that time when this was made, it was amazing. I remember
Yeah.
watching this and being like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it is very. I remembered this scene from when I first watched it because I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." But she's like, "I can feel Manon in my veins. He's inside me."
He's in me. He's filling me up.
So they walk up the beach a little bit, and they see a bunch of people, and there's just all these dead sharks.
Yeah.
And she's like, "It's a gift from Manon to me."
Yeah. Then she keeps yelling, "These are my gifts. These are my gifts." I'm like, who would want dead sharks as a fish, as a gift?
I don't know, but you think the cops or like beach patrol or whatever it is that they would hear because she's like, "This is for me."
Yeah.
And be like, what is she saying?
Very loud.
Get that lady over here. Does she have something to do with this?
Wow.
So they're driving in their car, and like the other girls have basically turned against Sarah. She's kind of freaking out. She's like, "Well, this is quite a bit. Like this is more than I've signed on for."
Yeah, this is some heavy shit now.
Yeah, and Nancy is just all like bitching at her and stuff. Be like, "Well, if you don't want in, you can get the fuck out." And she's like, I'm in. God, I just think this is a lot. We just made contact with a fucking deity."
Right?
But Nancy's like, "Hey, what color is that light up there?" And they're like, "Red." And she's like, "Well, red means stop, right?" And she turns it to green.
Yeah.
And she almost crashes into people as she blows through this green light.
Being a little reckless.
Everybody is like fine with it. Like Neve Campbell and Rochelle are all cool with how she's acting. They're all just like giggling like they're schoolgirls.
And Robin's all like, "This is not good.
Yeah, she's like, "We have crossed a barrier here."
I do not see this ending well." And it doesn't.
Sarah says to Nancy, she's like, "Nancy, you're being paranoid about how I won out." And Neve Campbell in the background just goes, "Paranoid."
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, are they high? I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Could be.
Rochelle, we cut to her in the school the next day. She's in the shower. She sees like a trail of hair on the ground, and she follows it, and she sees Christine Taylor, the bully, in the shower, like on the ground, and she's like completely bald with like some hair around the base.
Yeah, she's crying, and she's like, "I don't know why this keeps happening."
That's the funniest fucking line. She goes, "What did I do to deserve this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding?
Let me list some things for you, you racist bully.
Yeah, you said the N-word, and not the big N-word, but an N-word.
Yeah, exactly. That's not good.
Her friend, the bully's friend, is kind of nice because she comes in and she's like, "What happened? What's going on?" She's like, "Come on, we'll go to the nurse," or something like that. I'm like, well, her friend's kind of nice.
No, at least they didn't like turn on her and be like, "Oh, you're bald now.
Yeah.
You're different, so I can't like you anymore."
Well, Rochelle like looks in the mirror in the locker room, and she turns around and her reflection still stands the opposite. So it's like looking at her as she has her back to it, which that goes to nothing. Nothing comes of that.
No, still creepy.
So Sarah has made a date with Chris. They're sitting in like his Jeep. He's like begging her to go out with him to be his girlfriend. And you pointed out, I don't know if this is true, maybe we disproved it, but you thought that the car that they're sitting in was the same one that Nancy was driving earlier?
Yeah, it was the same red convertible.
It looked like
I
it, yeah.
swear. I didn't look it up, but it looked a lot like it.
I was like, well, maybe they only had money for one car and that's what they're doing with it. She was like, well, I thought we were going out to eat. And he's like, we're not going out to eat. He's like, now that I have you here, I'm not going to let you go.
Yeah, and she tried to kind of reason with him and be like, hey, I know you feel real intensely right now, but have
Hmm.
you ever thought of, where it's coming from or why you even feel this way? And he's like, no, I just woke up and this is how I feel.
Yeah.
This is it. I feel it.
Yeah, he tries to give her a back rub, and she's like, no, no. And
Yeah, it's very
then he
awkward.
forces himself on her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where this was going, but she kicks him in the nuts, and she just yells at him. She's like, I want to be alone right now. Because he's like running after her as she's running away.
I'm really upset. I'm going to go over here and start thinking about things. What
Yeah.
happened in the happening?
Yeah. Yes. What did she say? I am very upset right now. Yeah, I think that's what she said.
Yeah. I'm going to go sit down. Is that okay with you?
Well, Sarah goes to Rochelle's house, and when Rochelle opens the door, she's like, oh my god, because Sarah looks like beat the fuck up, and she's got like dirt and shit all over her face.
Yeah.
And she's like, there was nothing in his eyes. His eyes were completely empty.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, how do you tell? I don't know.
You just look at him.
I guess you can tell that they have the devil's eyes, like Halloween, the devil's eyes. So Nancy hears that, Chris is trying to, that Chris tried to rape her, and she, like, bails. She's like, well, where is he? They're like, well, they're having a big party like a bunch of kids are. And so Nancy leaves.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Sarah's
my
like,
goodness.
just let it be. Just let it be. And she's like, no, I'm going to go to this party.
Let it be.
Yeah, Nancy said she's going to the party, and she tells the girls that she's going to go play.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this isn't good. This is not going to end well.
Yeah, well, Skeet Ulrich is sitting there at the party, and he has, like, a big glass of beer. Like, the biggest glass. And his friends are like, oh, that weird-ass chick Nancy's here. And he, like, runs up to Nancy, and he's like,
where's she at?
is Sarah here? So I think this is where she takes him up to the bedroom. Nancy changes her face to look like Sarah.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, Sarah, hey. He's, like, drunk off his ass.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, oh, and I think I wrote in my notes here, kind of all over the place on this scene, but she's, like, trying to seduce him before she changes her face. And she's like, what, are you not in the mood? And he's like, I don't want to get my dick bitten off by you.
Oh, geez.
And she's like, what? And she's like, we had some good times. And she looks like a bulldog here. The way I said it with her mouth and the way her nose, she's just like, so she realizes that he's not having it with her. So then she changes her face into Sarah.
Starts climbing on top of him.
Yeah, and she's like, make love to me.
So he does.
The other girls show up, and we see Christine Taylor, the bully. She kind of apologizes to Rochelle here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wearing, like, this wig. She's like, I'm sorry. I called you the N-word. And it took me losing my hair to realize that's a bad thing.
I know now. Thank you.
Yes. So I think Sarah bursts in, and Nancy turns back into herself, and, like, Skeet Ulrich starts freaking out.
Yeah, he's all like, oh my gosh, you guys are really witches.
Yeah, he's like, you really are witches. And this is where Nancy's like, oh, you think you're in love with Sarah? She fucking cast a love spell on you, you fucking moron.
Mm-hmm.
You're only in love with her because of what she did. And Chris says Nancy is jealous of them. And this is where Nancy starts freaking out. She's like, you don't exist. She's like, you don't even exist anymore. And she's like levitating on the floor, kind of floating towards him.
Yeah. I think this is it shows like her boots, just the tips of them.
Yeah.
And the front just dragging on the floor.
And this is
Kinda
where,
neat.
yeah, it's interesting, but this is where she's like flipping her head around, and it does not look good with her. I feel bad for saying that. She's a pretty woman, but her mouth is just very large. But she's flipping her head back and forth, and she's like, and they're like, no, Nancy, no.
And he apologizes, and this is what really sets her off. She's like, oh, you're sorry, are you?
Yes.
And then the balcony doors come open, and she's like, you're sorry. And yeah, he was sorry.
Yeah, you don't see him. The camera kind of like falls over the balcony, and then you just assume that he did. And I'm like, did he die? I guess we're just to assume that he died.
Yeah, we never get it for sure, but I put in my notes that he died, so he died.
Yeah, I think so, because the next scene is Sarah sitting with her dad, and he was like, you can't blame yourself. It was an accident. I'm like, is he dead? I guess he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how real she was being with her dad here, because, like, he's like, it wasn't your fault. Don't worry about it. I wonder if she was, like, actually telling him, like, what was going on, but I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
We see Sarah sitting in, like, next to her pool in the backyard, and she has a picture of all of them, which is funny. They look like a girl band, like a band of women that you would see, you know, like The Craft. That'd be like their band. Like, this is our show at the wheel turn when we played. But she cuts Nancy out of their photo and she like wraps a ribbon around it.
She does a binding spell.
Yeah, she's like, I bind you, Nancy, from doing harm to yourself and harm to others. So later that night, Sarah wakes up and she has like, well, she thinks it's a dream, but like the three other women, Nancy, Bonnie, Neve Campbell, and Rochelle, like fly into her room and they're like hovering over her, laughing, and Sarah wakes up in a sweat, like scared as shit.
Yeah.
So the next day at school, Sarah goes into the bathroom to kind of just think for a minute, like decompress.
Well, yeah, because everybody's like looking at her and whispering and knows that, you know, she had something to do with Chris's death.
Yeah, like why isn't anyone doing that to Nancy? I mean, I'm sure they are. They're probably like, Nancy killed that guy. But yeah, she goes into the bathroom to decompress and she locks the door. Does my least favorite trope in movies, which is where you sit down on a toilet.
Yeah.
Like a public toilet like that is going to be nasty.
It is.
It's going to be fucking disgusting. There's that scene in the new episode, or the new season of Stranger Things, where that girl is sitting on the floor in the bathroom.
Ugh.
And I'm like, no.
Right next to the toilet.
Yeah, she like wedges herself in between the toilet and the stall door. I'm like,
that's the worst.
that's how you probably get, you know, cancer, I imagine.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. But it grosses me out because public toilets usually don't have a toilet seat. And if you're just going to sit down on there, men's bathrooms, there's going to be piss all over that toilet.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting. I hate public toilets, and when someone sits down on it, I'm just like, okay, well, your clothes are ruined. But she locks the door, and then the other three women come in, and they unlock the door. She sees the lock, like, undo itself.
Yeah. Damn.
I think here, Nancy tells Robin that she can hear her thoughts, and that, like, she's wanting out at this point.
And she's like, what? No, I don't. Everything's okay. She does a high-pitched voice, like, no, it's fine. Which means you know it's not.
You know it's out, yeah. And I think Bonnie or something, she's like, if you're out, you need to leave. And she's like, what leave? And Neve Campbell's like, the school. And then another one, Rochelle's like, the planet.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know, if you're out, she's like, I think they say here, with like, did you know that witches, what they would do to other witches when they would leave the coven? They would like hang them or something or burn them.
They would kill them, basically. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, shit.
So they're like, oh yeah, and then Neve Campbell is like, oh hey, sweet dreams, how you sleeping? So it's like, that was probably real.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't believe these girls are being so just mean.
Yeah, I don't know why they're all of a sudden turning on her. If this movie was a little longer, maybe you'd believe it, but it's just like, you know, she wants out. It's like, dude, somebody died. Like, you guys are not thinking that you went too far.
You don't think this is serious?
Yeah. Well, Nancy does have a line here where she's like, oh, and by the way, can you not cast any more binding spells on me? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, crap, that didn't work.
Yeah. So Sarah goes to the magic shop owner and kind of talking to her. And there was a scene earlier when they're there the first time that like Sarah tries to open a curtain in the back, and the lady that works there is like, no, you can't go in the back.
You're not classified for that.
You don't have the clearance. So, yeah, Sarah comes in and kind of explains to her what's going on, and the shop owner takes her back there, and it's like I guess it's a place to do magic or something.
Yeah, she said it was something about a sacred ground.
Oh, okay, yeah. She's like, oh, you have a tremendous light in here. She's like, I can hear your mother. She's telling you to be strong, and I can tell that your mother was a witch.
And that how she needs to invoke
Menon or whatever. Yeah, she's like, you have to take the power of Menon in, and she's like, well, I thought it was evil. And she's like, magic is not evil. It's not good or evil. It's how you use it. And she's like, Nancy had a darkness in her, so that's why she used it for darkness. She's like, but you have a big light in you.
That Menon wants to get in.
Fill you up. It's basically like Menon is trying to get people to get women to date him.
Yeah.
So what'd she say? Did she circle yes or no? They tried to like take the power in on her, and like a fake fire engulfs the shop. Like, this fire looks fake as fuck.
Yeah. They thought it was real.
So yeah, Sarah gets freaked out and she runs home. She's like, okay, well, I gotta run home. And this is where she gets a phone call, I think. Well, first off, she sees a note from her parents where they were like, we went home. They're like, we left and we flew home.
Yeah, because they thought that she ran away back home. So
yes.
They flew home just right away.
I guess, because there's
instead of confirming that she was there.
Yeah, I think there's like a phone book open there with like a flight or something. And she gets a phone call, and it's Nancy, and then she's like, turn the TV on. And it turns out that, like, the flight that her parents were on has crashed, and they're all dead.
Yeah. Like, whoa. They just killed her parents.
And this is where I was like, oh, she has a mom? She's like, your mom and dad are dead. I'm like, mom?
I mean, sad her dad's dead, but mom, which must have been their stepmom.
Yes, I imagine so, but she is not in this movie.
Mm-mm.
Sarah is like, running through the house, and you see just snakes and rats, lizards, and maggots. They're just kind of coming up around the windows.
Which all the rodents in this shot and throughout the whole movie are real.
Really?
Yeah, except for the cockroach that ends up on Sarah's face. And there's some other ones that
Yeah.
are in like mouths and stuff like that aren't real. But they basically just sealed this house and had all of these bugs in it.
Damn. Yeah, that'd be fucking crazy. Because she's like, she runs into the bathroom, and like coming out of the sink are like scorpions, and she opens the toilet, and I think there's like maggots and worms and stuff. And
Bugs everywhere.
yeah, so she sits in the shower, and she like closes the door, and she's like freaking out, and then Nancy pops in, and she's like, oh, I figured at this point you'd kill yourself or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, if I was as pathetic as you, I would have killed myself already or
Yeah.
ages ago or something like that.
Well, she disappears, Nancy does, so Sarah goes down the stairs and sees all three of them levitating, like flying in the living room. And Nancy's all like, oh, you're fucking weak. But she does pull out a note that says it's from Sarah, and it's like a suicide note.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like, I didn't write that. She's like, oh, well, it's in your handwriting.
Yikes. Yeah, this is when they start talking about killing her or how she's going to kill herself.
Yeah, she was like, you killed Chris, and you were so upset that you killed yourself. And I think Nancy comes in and cuts Sarah's wrists here. She like slices
yeah,
her.
She does. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so scary.
So Sarah runs away, and she goes up into her room, and she's like bawling her eyes out. Nancy is like, go upstairs and get her, to Neve Campbell and Rochelle. They're like, go get her. And Rochelle is like, hey, I was okay with you killing that kid. I was okay with you running through the red light. I was okay with torturing one of our classmates that we were friends with. But don't you think this is a little much?
Don't you think this might be a little too far?
Yeah, and Nancy's like, if you don't go up there, I'll slit your fucking throats.
Yeah. So now they're in it deep.
Yeah, I guess. And so Sarah is upstairs, and that's when she takes the power of Manon into her.
Yeah, she sees her mom's picture and draws strength from it. And
Yeah,
starts to invoke the spirit.
I guess so. And so Neve Campbell and Rochelle are like going upstairs, and as they walk past this gigantic mirror, they look and they see that Neve Campbell looks like she's got scars all over her face and body, and Rochelle has no hair.
Yeah.
And they all freak out and they run and get the fuck out of the house.
I'm like, that freaks you out?
That was it.
That's all it took?
I guess the director's like, look, we're running out of money. We don't have special effects money for a big, huge fight. Let's get the fuck out of here. It is funny. I think here the picture of her mom starts talking to Sarah. And we also see that her wrists, the scars on her wrist heal.
Yeah, because Manon heals her.
Yes. So
he gets up in her and heals her.
Yes, that's all he wanted, was to get up in that. So Nancy goes upstairs with a knife to confront Robin.
She's like real scary. She runs the knife along the walls.
Yeah.
Talking and yelling things. And I'm just like, this is scary. I'm scared.
And I'm like, God, this is kind of boring. I wanted there to be like a big witch fight, But Nancy stands in front of a mirror, and the reflection turns into Sarah, and Sarah steps out of the mirror.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
And Sarah is like, Manon wants you to know that you have abused the gift that you have given, and you are in deep shit. And Nancy's fingers here turn into snakes, and she falls, and like bugs crawl out from all over her, like they're out of her clothes and stuff.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, well, not all these bugs can be real.
I think I read something where like they did that on a dummy, and then they used computers to like put her face over the dummy.
Oh,
so like they had
maybe.
bugs coming out, but it looks like it's coming out of her.
Okay, well that's cool.
So Sarah is all like, just relax. It's all a little magic.
It's only magic. Calm down.
And Nancy tried pleading with her here. She's like, I know I'm crazy. I don't mean to be. It got out of hand.
She's like, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so Sarah is like, starts the binding process again. She's like, I bind you from harm against yourself. And that's when fucking Nancy goes crazy and grabs the
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah. And she's all like, I was just saying sorry so you'd calm down.
I guess there's kind of this is the part that won for best fight. They kind of fly onto the wall here, and
Yeah.
they're laying down on the wall as if they're laying on the floor, and Nancy's like trying to stab the shit out of her. And Robin, God, why do I keep saying Robin? Her name is Robin. I wrote Robin in my notes. Sarah has like a chest of drawers fly at her, and Nancy gets like squished, or she gets out of the way, I think.
Yeah. Nancy gets out of the way and Sarah
Is squished.
gets squished. Yes.
Which her stabbing into these and trying to stab Sarah is very funny. The way
It
she's
is.
acting.
You
She's
can
like,
tell. You can tell that it's choreographed. Like,
yeah.
okay, move your head. I'll stab opposite. Move your head the other way. I'll stab there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they needed to practice a little more.
Yeah, so Nancy is like, where the fuck are you? And she moves the chest of drawers, and Sarah's clothes are just there.
They're just nice and neat, too.
Yeah,
They're just very pressed.
Well, it's funny. It'd be funny if she was like, she's naked somewhere now.
Where are you at, naked?
But Nancy attempts to stab the clothes, and Robin reappears in them. Because I guess she did
Yeah.
like a trick.
She disappeared. She did a disappearing act.
Yeah, Robin then kicks Nancy into a mirror, and that's it. She binds her again. She finishes it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I bind you and bind you, and she finishes it, and then that's it. Like, it ends the scene. So
That crazy fight scene.
best MTV fight scene, 1996.
Not the best.
So we're in the next day or whenever, maybe a few days later, but Rochelle and Neve Campbell show up at the house, and I guess they're moving. They're going. I don't know if they're going back to where they came from or moving to a different house or something.
Probably anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. But the mom again is nowhere here,
No, just the dad.
and the dad's like, "Well, hi girls, how you doing? Nice to see ya." And Neve Campbell, she's like, "You know that the news report of your parents dying was just was a glamour. We made you see what you wanted,
Just a little trick."
what we wanted." Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I figured that out when my dad came home. Thanks.
Yes. And she's like, "Oh, do you have any powers left?" And she just walks away. Sarah walks away because they're like, "Well, we don't have any powers anymore." She's like, "I doubt." So Sarah walks away, and Rochelle or Neve Campbell's like, she probably doesn't have powers
I
either.
don't really have any.
And Sarah turns around, and like the wind is like flying everywhere, and a big tree branch falls in front of Neve and
Yeah.
Rochelle.
And they fall. It causes them to fall down.
Yes, and they're like kind of freaked out that she still has powers.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, "Remember, you guys don't want to end up like Nancy."
Yeah.
And we cut to an insane asylum where Nancy is like tied to the bed, and this nurse is giving her food or something, and she's like, "I can fly, I can fly."
Fly like an eagle.
Yeah, and then the doctor shoots her up with whatever, and Nancy, that's it. She's just screaming to nobody in this insane asylum.
Mm-hmm. There is a deleted scene
Mm-hmm.
where Robin visits,
Nancy.
yeah, in the psych ward to help her get better.
Oh. I did see that there was a sequel made to this movie sometime after. I think it's called The Craft Ascension, I believe.
I'm not sure.
Spoiler alert, the main character in that movie finds out that she is the daughter of Nancy.
Whoa!
And at the very end of the movie, she goes to visit Nancy in the insane asylum.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, if she's been in an insane asylum this whole time, how does she have a baby?
How'd you get pregnant?
Fuck did that happen? I don't know. I watched the scene where she showed up and she's like, "Mom," and it just shows Nancy really quickly.
Wow.
A much older Fairuza Balk, obviously.
Right.
But that's it. She's only in there for just that little scene. I kind of find the movie forgettable.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I was wanting to love it.
Yeah.
I wanted to love it as much as I loved it when I watched it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
No.
I found it a little, I don't know,
Boring?
not relatable anymore.
Oh, really?
I guess back then I was just like, oh, that's so cool. I want to be just like that. I want to be a witch and
I love witchcraft.
cast spells. And, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm good.
I don't know. I was kind of like maybe freaked out a little bit of it as a little kid because I was like, oh my God, that stuff's real. My parents tell me that stuff's real.
Yeah.
People can really do this. I don't know. I don't really feel like the characters really, you got to know them very well.
Mm-mm.
They tried, but you don't really like any of them. Like, you know, Sarah should be your character that you really like, and you at the end you're just kind of like meh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she was the most reasonable character. But yeah, I can't say that I like really had any hard feelings for her.
Yeah. So okay, well that is that.
That's that.
That was the craft. So
Thanks for listening.
yes, thank you very much. We'll next week we continue on with fantasy and doing what we think is fantasy to us. Basically, we're doing Drag Me to Hell,
Yeah.
and this is kind of a tribute to Sam Raimi. Doctor Strange came out, and you had seen this movie before, but you said it was a while. We need to watch Evil Dead 2 as well
Mm-hmm.
because you can really get a sense of all the funny stuff that he does. Like there in Drag Me to Hell, that demon dances on the table. You know,
Yeah.
he does funny stuff with horror, and that's just his style.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yes. So next week we will be doing Drag Me to Hell.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.